hitting big this past week, and we wanted to recap the recent action. BigT led the way with a 150K PGA shipper to start the week. Tony shared his early guy player pool in the premium Discord before lock, benefiting our members and peppering the leaderboards with RPS logos.
Oh, Stevie Boyden called me a dickhead too? You didn't say that part, man. I just saw that in there.
Hoop followed up in MLB with a 100K hit of his own. Hoop hit with his core, which went off for our subscribers as well. Finally, Draft Cheat added a big 50K single bullet hit of his own in the MLB afternoon slate, and we got to witness him sweating out the final moments live on our premium final countdown show.
Yes. There it is.
There we go, DC.
DC with the shit.
That's what we do, baby. What was the total? How much total did you have in?
$47 to win.
$47? That's going to be a legendary screenshot.
The Discord was on fire with members riding with DC, proving once again nobody comes close to picking winners like the Run Piers squad.
It was the core on the site too, obviously, because you only played because of that. So the members had to smash too.
Oh yeah, I saw a bunch of members up there.
Our subscriptions are more valuable than ever with our Premium Print Fest Friday Night Fireworks, where we broadcast all of our shows for members only every Friday. And speaking of members, congrats to all of our members who have been crushing it in July. Nika hit for 14K in MLB, TAJ 50-50 hit for 25K in MLB, Nuggets 33 had a 20K shipper in MLB, Michael Smith hit for 20K in MLB too. Finally, T-Zur joined the party, shipping a 20K hit of his own. Meanwhile, Nico H22 hit for 10K in NBA Summer League DraftKings contest with an assist from the great content Rubio and Kurt Jones have been providing. If you haven't subscribed yet, get it now by using the promo code RPSHeater25 to knock 25% off your first payment on a weekly or monthly subscription. Get it now and find out why our logos are consistently all over the leaderboard.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Joined by my two boys, Mangone, AP, talking some baseball. We got 8 games on DraftKings. They're including the second game of the doubleheader for the Kansas City and Detroit. FanDuel is not. We got 7 games on FanDuel. Of course, everyone's already talking about it in chat. Coors Field is on the slate, yes. Fortunately, DraftKings did not price it like it's a Coors Field game. Not only is it Coors Field, it's against one of the worst pitchers we've seen in the league. So excited to dive in, talk about that. Pitching is pretty good, though. There's options up top, some options in the mid-tier, I think, some options down low. I think it's a pretty tasty slate. AP, how's it going over there? How's your Monday? What's your thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, Monday is going really well. It looks like we have a pretty straightforward slate, but I thought, like Mangone, when we were breaking it down on Saturday, I thought that was a very straightforward slate. And sometimes things don't go your way. Today, we know where the chalk's going to go. We know where everyone is going to be at as far as their lineup construction goes. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of game theory, a lot of galaxy brain type stuff that you can do today, or you can just play the best spots. I mean, that's the fun thing about DFS.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to hear what Mangone's going to do, what you're going to do. I see people in chat already talking about it. Gator said first game of the series in Coors generally goes well under. People are always going to make a case to fade, and top of the lineup gets way more exposure than the bottom as always. So we'll dive in. We'll talk about it. We got Keg in chat. What's going on, Keg? Actually, speaking of Keg, Danny up above said, I listened to RPS NASCAR yesterday, and I'm shocked. I took 4th place out of 2380. Never won anything in NASCAR until yesterday, so excited to listen to you guys tonight. Keg, Matty, Ice, Coop, absolutely been crushing NASCAR, so congrats to you. Keg on the bet side, MMA, NASCAR, all of that, Keg live show, Dunkel, Joey Work, all of them. It's been a very good month for sure. So congrats to you, Danny. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. Joey Work in chat right on cue as well. So love to see that. Mangone, what's going on, man? You playing some Summer League tonight? How's Summer League been going? What's going on in your world?
No summer league tonight because I'm going to the game. I'm going to the Coors game, and
Ooh,
yeah, I
you
have
got to
to-
stack it up, right? Isn't that the rule, man?
yeah, I'm definitely forced to stack it up, and I'm going with some DFS guys. I'm going with Dean 78904, a longtime friend, and we convinced DC to join us. DC from over here, so
There you go.
I'll be hanging with DC tonight at the game, and I'll be stacking it up for sure. But man, it's a really interesting slate because there's just so many ridiculous price tags over on DK. And on top of that, Chris Bryant's not in that lineup anymore. So it adds into that whole dynamic. It's easy to grab in all those top arms. So you just got to find a way to make it different for sure. If you are going to play that spot, or you just don't play that spot. If there's a spot on this slate that is not Coors, right? Let's say the White Sox, or let's say the Red Sox. You're just going to get it way lower owned than normal. So certainly just go to that and then don't worry about it. So I am excited to go to the game. Should be a fun time. Hopefully there are a lot of runs scored. And but it is an interesting slate tonight. I wish DraftKings would get a little less lazy because they've been just a disaster with their pricing. Let's get that going. I made sure to put some entries over on FanDuel so I could do the core stack there title, just because the pricing there, it's a little more difficult. You can't jam in all those guys. So, hey, maybe you don't like this DK slate. Shift on over to FanDuel and play over there. There's certainly other ways to get some DFS exposure and fade this. If you don't want to play this slate because it's a gross one, you think, then you can easily fade it that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's always money to be made. 7 games, 8 games, not too bad. Pitching is good. You can get different at pitching. I think there's a couple guys that are clear. I mean, couple spots that are clear chalk, clear pairings. You have all the salary in the world with how Coors Field pricing is. So it's an interesting one. Outside of Coors, yeah, you don't see the highest totals. You see some 4.6s, a 4.9, couple 4.8, something like that. But definitely Coors Field's going to get all the attention when it comes to total. It's sitting at about 12. Urania on the mound, absolutely garbage, even though he did pitch well against the Dodgers. Sean Manaea on the other side. Like you said, no Chris Bryant in that lineup. So definitely an interesting slate for sure. Do us a favor, hit that like button as always, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. But we're going to dive right in. We're going to talk about pitching right away. AP, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to say 8K and above, but that's because I think you're going to cross off 3 really quick. Manaea, Mikolas, Lance Lynn. I don't think you'll have any interest. If you do, you're going to surprise me for sure. But Max Scherzer, Aaron Nola, Max Fried, all up there, 9.6, 10K, 10.3K. 3 very good arms on this slate. So talk about pitching 8K and above.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Tato, you mentioned all 3 guys that I like. I mean, Max Scherzer, just clearly, the top option from a DFS standpoint on this slate. He's 10-3. There's cheap bats. All the numbers, all the metrics look good. What are the risks, though? I mean, yeah, this Braves team, we know what they're capable of. Very dangerous lineup, top to bottom. With Scherzer, though, man, he's just been so good, so dominant. And the thing about it is, even if he gives up a bomb or two, it's not going to matter on a slate like this one, in my opinion, because the strikeouts are going to be there. The Braves, one thing they have been doing is striking out at a decent clip. And so even if he gives off a home run or two, hopefully he doesn't, I think he's a very, very safe option when you're looking at a floor to ceiling combination. Obviously, he's going to be one of the chalkiest pitchers on the slate. My the other decision point is really Aaron Nola or Max Fried, for me. And the thing about it is I got to trust Aaron Nola, even, against the Cardinals, a pesky team. They have been striking out at a little bit higher of a clip over the last 30 days, which we like to see. And the thing about Nola is if you look at it, I think you have to go all the way back to May. If you look at all of, or maybe it's just July, and then, there's a game or two there in June. But I mean, if you look at those numbers, he's pitched at least 7 innings or more all of June or all of July, all of June and July so far. I think there's one game in there where he pitched 6. So it's just, man, the leash on him is just incredible. And I'm going to trust it there, even against, here a pesky Cardinals lineup. So the thing about it, though, too, on the slate, and I think you guys are going to agree, it's really easy to get both of those guys, into your lineups. But up top, I have those 2 above Max Fried, but he would be my 3rd option. And then I'm not playing anyone else. I just have no interest in anyone else. And the thing about Max Fried, my one comment there, man, the strikeouts just haven't been there. He's such a good real life pitcher. I like the guy. I think he's awesome. But man, he's not like forcing, he's not pounding the zone. He's, very, he has he has all the pitches, like his pitch arsenal is just massive, and it makes it tough on hitters, but he's not afraid to pitch to contact, rely on his defense. And so he's not as dependent on strikeouts. So for me, it's clearly Max Scherzer and Aaron Nola, 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. It's not very often you see someone that's going to be double the ownership, one of them, probably the most chalky pitcher in Max Scherzer, as an underdog actually against Max Fried. Obviously speaks a lot to the Braves offense. Both pitchers are good. But yeah, it's interesting because Fried's definitely going to be lower owned, probably half the ownership, if not more. But I agree with you. Like money lines and all that does not mean nearly as much in baseball. It's pretty close to a coin flip. You definitely want to hunt the strikeouts. Mangone, same thing to you, AK and above. Talk about those three up top. I assume you don't have any interest in the Mikolas, Lynn, and those guys, but talk about top tier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like Lynn's like the worst if you take out those top three, right? Lynn's like probably my favorite if I had to pick between those. But problem is, if I do go there, like I'd rather just go down lower and lower. So that's why I'm kind of not really going to this mid-tier range. It's really Max, Nola, and Fried. And you have to make decisions on that. It sounds lame, it sounds boring, but I think it's just Max and Nola for me. And that's kind of the way I'm going. I'm not loving Max Fried. The Mets are just not really a team that strike out a ton, right? This is not a team really to pick on. So I understand if you want to go to a guy like Fried, but the problem is that matchup is very concerning against the Mets. Like St. Louis, at least they definitely can strike out a bunch and they are righty heavy. So that's one thing that's at least encouraging. I get it ownership wise. You might think, okay, Fried will be a lot lower owned. Like, I just don't know if the gap's going to be enough. Like if you told me the gap was 5% versus like 30%, yeah, I'd be in on it, but I just don't think it's going to be that way. I still think Fried's going to gain ownership over around 20. And I don't think it's going to be like maybe at most it's like a 3 times difference, maybe, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people realize because there's not a lot of spots to make pivots where I think people are going to make that pivot there. So I think Scherzer and Nola is perfectly fine. I'm currently down with that route, but I like going cheaper too. Like I think there's other options that you can consider. This isn't a slate where you look down at the bottom and you just say, oh, these guys are just like bad plays and you don't want to go them. Maybe instead of doing like a 5-3 stack with cores, maybe you do like a 5-man stack of cores and you do a bunch of one-offs, right? You grab those home runs. Maybe you find a way to upgrade a spot like BigT has talked about before. Like let's say that, for instance, Manny Machado, he's going to be someone that's going to be heavily owned on the Padres today. Well, let's say you still play 5 Padres, and then at third base, you make that your one-off spot. That's the way you've already made your core stack unique and different. So you can find ways to do it, and you could do that too by going cheaper with pitcher and then getting a big bat in there. So those are some things I'm going to look at. But at the top, my ranking is Scherzer 1, Nola 2, and then Fried 3. And I really like those other 2 the most, though.
Yeah, makes sense. So I'm going to go back to you for the lower pitchers, man, going 8K and below. A couple that stand out to me, Alex Cobb and Merrill Kelly in the same game. It's in San Francisco, Pitchers Park. It's only going to be like 60 degrees there tonight, 7.5 total. I think those 2 make a lot of sense in the mid-tier, probably get overlooked a little bit. I think Cobb gets some ownership. Kelly probably gets some, but you get all the way down below. I saw Junior talking about it. Hope everything's going well, Junior. Brian Bello, he's all the way down there at 5K. And yes, last time he got some ownership. He did not pitch well in his debut. He got negative 0.4. He's been a strikeout pitcher. You look at a strikeout prop today. I just had it up. What is it today? I think it's pretty decent. 4.5 with some juice on the over. You're telling me that at mid-price 5K, and you don't. The thing on this slate is why I don't think he's going to get nearly the ownership as he would if Coors was priced correctly. Because like what? Everyone's low or everyone's salary is cheap, man, going like you were mentioning. If you want to play Luke Voigt, you don't have to pay a premium for it. Machado's a little more expensive, but you go down that Padres lineup, even Colorado's lineup a little bit. A lot of cheap bats you can fill out. So I think Bello is interesting. Man, like, could he outscore Max Fried or Aaron Nola in a vacuum today? I really do think he can. And if you leave 2,000 on the salary doing that, maybe you spend up in a position other people don't. I'm going back to Bello today. I think it's a better spot than last time, including the ownership with the slate we have with everyone going up at pitcher and going the same construction. So talk about Cobb, Kelly, Bello, and then anybody else in the lower range that you have interest in.
Yeah, you're definitely right with your Bello take. So let's talk about him just because you brought him up right away. He has a 4.5 strikeout prop, right? And if you look at the other strikeout props in this slate, Max Fried, 5.5. It's juiced. It's positive juice on the over. So obviously it's juiced more on the under. So you can make the argument that savings is pretty nice. Now I get it. You can grab a lot of bats for cheap. So maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you jam in maybe a big bat on this slate, like an expensive one that's not in cores, that's a way that maybe get that low owned guy in there. And that's a way to use your salary and make it a little bit different in your core stack, right? So I think that Bello is definitely worth going to. I don't mind him on FanDuel too, where it's kind of hard to get the Coors bats in there. And if people just kind of gravitate towards, they gravitate towards Max Scherzer and Nola, like go with Bello there. It's definitely hard to get those Coors bats in there right now. Maybe the lineup changes with Chris Bryant being out. Maybe it makes it a little easier. I think the lineup did come out and like Hampson's in the 9 hole, but either way, the point I'm getting at is Bello, I think is a pretty good spot. And that last time, the reason why I think Big T talked it up and liked it was, for one, he was really going to be chalky on that slate because there wasn't a lot of pitching. So that was one good argument. Two, it was in Boston. Now it's in Tampa, way better park for the pitcher. And I mean, he definitely is a good prospect, as DC has talked about. So I think we got to take a shot on him.
I think nerves had to do something with it in Fenway, packed crowd. You know what I'm saying? It was warm there, I believe, if I'm thinking about it correctly. Like, I'm willing to throw that start out.
Yeah, agreed. Like I'm okay with it too. You can also make the argument if you want to just take the wait and see approach. I'm perfectly fine with that. But there is an argument to be made because of the ownership. That's the key. And I think that's the key reason why Big T did it last time for sure. Alex Cobb is one that I don't mind. Arizona is not good against righties. Alex Cobb, he definitely has been a little unlucky this year. I know the guys have talked about, he's had some, up and down games and some spots where the game should have been better, but there were like errors from the fielders. But Alex Cobb getting a pretty good spot against Arizona, I don't want to ignore that. I think it's a really good opportunity for him. I always like to attack Arizona with the right-handed pitcher. And for 7.4K, I think he's certainly in play and definitely a good option. So really do like Alex Cobb in this spot. I think he gains less ownership. He's not going to be like 5% or anything, but he is definitely someone I think that you should be considering playing. And I think I might be a guy that I like maybe make a small pivot to. Maybe I don't want to go all the way down to Bello and I go over to like a Cobb instead. And I do like a Nola Cobb pairing. Certainly a good route that you can go. And those are kind of like my 5 pitchers on this slate. I'd rank a Max Scherzer 1, Nola 2. I'll probably go Bello, or I'll probably put Cobb 3, Bello 4, and then I'll put Max Fried 5. That's kind of my rankings there.
Yeah, I like it. That's pitchers for Mangone. I agree. Outside of those 5, I'm not looking at anybody. I don't think you have to get cute. And yeah, if you have to cross some off, yours would be Merrill Kelly. It sounds like. AP, you mentioned a little earlier, are you just going to say Scherzer, Nola, Max Fried are the only 3 pitchers you're touching? You're not going to go all the way down? Talk about that. Give us your final rankings.
No, yeah, I have a ton of interest in Bello. Was very, very high on him that last slate too. Much tougher spot too. The Rays they have their lineup out right now. This lineup is just not good at all. The other thing too, I was watching that game pretty close just because, like, man, he throws with heat. Like, his sinker is incredible, and it was a lot of nerves. The other thing too, when he came out, the kid looks young too. I mean, man, he just, in that stadium, that just that everything about the environment.
You could tell the whole atmosphere.
You could tell he was, and what the Rays did. They were aggressive. They're swinging, first pitch swinging away, and I think that caught him by surprise. I think he's going to come in feeling a little bit more relaxed here, watered down lineup. This lineup against right-handed pitching on the season, striking out at a 20% rate. So the bottom half, 5 through 9, is just terrible. So, I mean, they got some lefties in there, but I'm not worried about any of these guys down there. So I have a ton of interest in him. And the more I think about it, when you look at weather and everything, I mean, man, it's 97 in St. Louis. I know it's a big ballpark, but man, the balls are going to fly there. And there's a lot of warm weather, in a lot of places. So I might go Scherzer Bello and just like try to get different that way at pitching, because I do think, when you're looking at projections, like, and then when you look at how easy it's going to be to fit Nola and Scherzer in there, it's just going to be such a highly correlated, SP1, SP2 route that people take. So I think if you introduce, a cheapie in there, and the other thing to think about is this guy was 50% owned last slate. Now he's going to be what, like under 20, like 18, 20. I mean, you guys probably have a better idea of ownership
right
projections
there,
than I do. Yeah. So, I mean, we get a massive discount as far as ownership goes. Price is still cheap, and he gets an upgrade at a park and an upgraded lineup for him. Like there's 2 bats that in that lineup that are not that he didn't face last time, and they put Brett Phillips and Raleigh something, in there. I mean, I'm not afraid of those guys, so I'm going to go right back to him, and I'm probably going to pair him with Scherzer, and I think that's going to be the route I go. So I'm going to rank him second from a DFS standpoint, but I'm going to rank Scherzer first, and then Nola third, just to get different and to be a little bit contrarian on this slate.
Title, before you cut in, I want to talk about this because AP, I think you bring up a good point about playing Bayo, and this is why I think it's sharp to play him. So most of the routes, what they're going to do today is if you play Scherzer and you play Nola, and let's say you play those Padres bats, like you're going to, at some point you do have to save some money, right? So you're going to have a cheaper mini stack in there. And then what's going to happen with your lines is if you go a guy like a Bayo, what your team might have is maybe you have a Padres stack, and then maybe it ends up being a 3-man of Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, and like Jose Abreu. Or maybe it's like Yoan Moncada, Luis Robert, and like Jose Abreu with the Padres. And then what you do is because you have Moncada in there at 3K, you're different in your 5-man Padres stack, right? And because you went Bayo, you have all this money to spend on that mini stack. And that gives you a slightly different construction than the field where you can still play the Padres and you're a little different. Is fading Manny Machado concerning? Yeah, of course it is. It's a little scary to do, but is there a route where maybe Machado hits a home run and like Moncada also matches it and all those other Padres go off and you have a unique team that gets the job done and like separates you from the field? Yeah, certainly there is a route that could be the case. So I think that's a pretty good point you brought up. When you go that Bayo route, you're maybe able to get an expensive mini stack to pair up with those Padres to help you be a differentiator on your teams.
Yeah, 100%. And you can also leave salary. I mean, obviously you don't want to just, at the end of the day, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Bayo was the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. But you also just don't want to have the same roster construction, swap Scherzer to Bayo and just go based off of that team. You do want to get a little different, spend up where other people couldn't, but you definitely can leave salary in baseball. We talk about it all the time. And you mentioned like Manny Machado, these scary fade and stuff. Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, it's baseball, as we always talk about. Anyone can go 0 for 4 and you're not surprised. You're not fading Giannis, as I like to talk about, without Middleton, Drew Holiday, and all of that. Like there's way different. It's a different sport, baseball, compared to the other stuff. 0 for 4 is definitely in the realm of possibilities. So yeah, I think pitcher is pretty good. You got both of their breakdowns. Scherzer, Nola, Bayo, Max Fried, and then Mangone likes Alex Cobb a little bit in the mid tier if you want to mix it up. Let's go game by game. Now let's see what over 400 watching, 124 likes. Do us a favor, please hit that like button for us. Please hit that big red subscribe button. If you're not a member and you want to join, RPS Heater 25 is the promo code. Gets you 25% off. And you got to, if you want to see the Up to Lock show, if you want to see golf, huge weekend in golf. What do we got? US Open this week, AP. The premium show on Wednesday. Tambo, Big T, Uncle T, Hoop. That's a premium show only. Got to do that. AP goes on tomorrow with Hoop and Snyder. They break down their free stuff. It's on YouTube. So, hey, hit the subscribe button, get notifications. You can get notified when they do go live. But that's enough of that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We appreciate it. First game of the night, Chicago White Sox, Cleveland Guardians, Lance Lynn and Cal Quantrill on the mound. We have a 9 total in this game. 87 degrees in Cleveland today, which, yeah, we mentioned some spots across the country. Very warm in St. Louis. Pretty warm in Atlanta. Outside of that, though, it's pretty warm in Kansas City, too. But, man, 87, Lance Lynn, we've been someone we picked on a little bit, AP. I think the Guardians make some sense, and I always love playing Jose Ramirez. And what I love even more today, you got to play him at third base. Manny Machado's third base. He's 300 cheaper. He's definitely going to be more popular. Of course, Jose Ramirez will get some ownership, but I like this Guardian stack personally, and I like anchoring it around Jose Ramirez. Talk about this game if you have any interest in bets.
Yeah, he was Ramirez. He was cold there for quite the long stretch. And then, you know, what happens? He goes and faces the Royals. They tend to heat people up a little bit. And we saw that in that series. I mean, he went absolutely nuclear. So, yeah, the one problem I have with the Guardians is like, man, this lineup outside of a couple bats, I just don't like it. Like, I rarely play them. If I'm playing them, it's a 3-man stack with Ramirez, maybe Josh Naylor, Rosario, maybe those. But when you're looking at the bottom of the lineup here, I mean, Framber Reyes has been decent too. I just can't get to the bottom of the lineup here. So again, you can attack Lance Lynn. He hasn't been that good of, as late, but like, man, he's got a couple outings there where he's looked okay. And, if he comes in and if he brings the stuff, he's not going to be one that we really want to attack on a slate like this, in my opinion. But if we're going to do it, it would definitely be Ramirez. And you made a really good point there, Title. Like, we have a slate where we know there's going to be a very chalky third base option. So you can get a little bit different with your build depending on who you're stacking up by maybe using Ramirez as a one-off. But honestly, I still think he's going to get some ownership with how easy it is to fit in bats on this lineup. So if you want to really get, way different, go, fade Ramirez and fade Manny Machado. And that's going to make you pretty unique on this slate. But again, if I had to play it, I would play Jose Ramirez. And then I need Mangon's opinion on the White Sox because, man, I'm lost for words. Like, I can't deal with this team anymore. Every time I stack them up, they hurt my feelings in such good spots. And then when they're not on the slate, they go off. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I forget what day it was, but they put up 8, 9, 10 runs. And I'm like, oh, they're not on the slate. Like, that, of course, that's how it's going to work. So again, Cal Quantrill, like, not good. Gives up a lot of hard contact on paper. I love how this White Sox team looks. They're gonna break a slate one of these times. So with that in mind, and just because this team in the past, last year mainly, and I know Mangon's going to agree with me on this one, they've treated me well, won me a live final seat. They won me some cash multiple times. Haven't yet this year at all. Like, I've just been burning cash with them, but I am going to reserve one lineup to full stack them up here because I do think it's a good spot. With the winds blowing out, with it 90 degrees there. I think it's a great spot. So sign me up for a contrarian, low-owned White Sox stack and maybe run it back with Jose Ramirez and then get some, maybe get a two-man stack elsewhere or just full stack this game. And I think he'll be very contrarian on the slate.
Yeah, the slates like these are nice where where all the ownership's going to go for hitting or a lot of it. Anything outside of that, you don't have to worry about ownership at all. I think it's an interesting game stack with good weather, 2 pitchers I'm not worried about. Thank you, Axaw. He said the British Open, U.S. Open was last month. I know I kind of phrased it as a question. I didn't get anything in return. I knew there was something open, wasn't sure what it was. So appreciate that. The British Open this week. All I know is there are monster prize pools for sure. And any of the BVP people out there, Nate Zafai says JSURab has some BVP as well. So there you go. Mangon, tell AP, what are you doing with the White Sox? You're the White Sox whisperer. Jam them in today? No, and then talk about Cleveland.
I definitely haven't been on them as much this year. They've been frustrating, but the lineup is getting healthier. And I think today it makes some sense, mainly because of the ownership, right? Like, some of the days they've had some really just difficult ownership. You'll see 25% and you're like, I know this spot's great. Like Spencer Watkins, and it absolutely did it. And then if you don't play the White Sox, who is that other offense you're going to? That's kind of one of the other struggles here. I think Kansas City's fine. I think they're not a bad option to go to, but it's definitely just rough here when it comes to offenses. And I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards Coors. I do prefer the 5-man Colorado stack over the White Sox if I could today, which some people might see Sean Manaea and think differently, but White Sox are in play for me. They're not bad. I think they're better as a mini stack though. And the reason why is I think because they got these value plays like Moncada. If you make Moncada your third baseman, you're not having Machado then, right? That's a quick way to make it different. Then a Gavin Sheets. He can provide some nice value and pop for that spot. Luis Robert, he's a good spend-up option if you need one of those. Jose Abreu, he can always go yard. Well, everyone else is going Luke Voigt or CJ Cron. So there are some really good pivots that you can go to. Also, shortstop. Shortstop is kind of gross in that San Diego game and Colorado game. So because of that, a Tim Anderson spend-up's not a bad option today. So I just think the White Sox position-wise fit really well today with some of the constructions of just one-offs or mini stacks where I'm definitely going to look at them. I can't ignore them on this slate because the ballpark's good. It's 88 degrees. Wind's going to be blowing out 10 to 15 miles an hour. I just think they're in play today because their ownership is low. It's not like they're coming in at a high percentage. If they were coming in at a high ownership, I wouldn't have as much interest, but it seems like right now they got to be a team that you get some exposure to.
Absolutely. Before we get to the next game, have to do the members never win segment. There's been a good amount of them. It's been a pretty good run over here in multiple different sports. Want to shout out some members and coordinators. We got Nika, won 14,000 in MLB. Taj 50-50, 25,000 in MLB. Nuggets, man of the people, 20,000 in MLB. Michael Smith, 20,000 in MLB. Teaser, 20,000 in MLB. That's a lot of 20,000s in MLB. Congrats to all you guys. Nico H, 10,000 in Summer League. Rubio and Kurt are absolutely grinding that. Uncle T, the big golf win, 15,000 in PGA from like $75. DC, the $50,000 MLB win off of 47,000 or at 47,000. $50,000 win off of $47. And then we got Ma Cox 1115 won $100,000 in PGA, I believe that was. Congrats to all of you guys. Awesome stuff. You love to see it. Multiple different sports.
Hey, Title.
Yep.
I would love to see like the return on investment ROI on all those winnings. I mean,
Yeah.
it was insane. Like Uncle T's was insane. DC's was insane. I mean,
Nuggets was
you're talking,
insane. I remembered.
Nuggets was insane. You're talking like $100 or less with a return of, 15K, 20K, 50, whatever K it was. I mean, absolutely insane. Awesome work by all of those guys and all the members.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, insane stuff. The bet side has absolutely been crushing it as well. It's been a good time over here at Rumpier. And I mean, man, I consider this kind of like an off season. NBA is always such a grind. I love every second. NFL's during NBA a lot too. Not all the sports going on right now, but it's a print fest. I mean, we got League of Legends, CSGO, if you like the video games, as Holden likes to call it, NASCAR every week. We got MMA most weeks, PGA, still tons of stuff going on. And NFL is right around the corner. It's not right around the corner, but hey, it'll be here before we know it. Preseason stuff is always a good time. So lots of sports. Head over to Rumpier Sports if you want to be a member. RPS Cedar 25, get you 25% off, and make sure you get in the Discord. Let's see, we got 450 watching, 167 likes. We need 300. We need 300 for the plays of the day. It should be very easy. If you're watching this, 451 watching, we should have 451 likes. Unfortunately, it doesn't go that way for some reason. Takes 1 second out of your day, though. We always do appreciate it. Hit that big red subscribe button, too. I see 9.39K subscribers. Let's make a push to 9.42 at the end of this show and make Simon happy. We always do appreciate it. We'll go back. Let's talk some baseball, though. Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays. We got an 8 total. Brian Bello. And looks like a bullpen game for Tampa Bay. I don't have interest. I don't like playing teams in Tampa Bay. I'd rather take some other shots when the weather's 80 degrees, 90 degrees in some spots. AP, you see it the same way, or do you like one of these two teams?
No, I mean, this Ray, like I was going to say, if we got a better Rays lineup, which is kind of, I mean, they haven't really had the ability to roll out many good lineups this season due to all the injuries that they have. But if we're going to see one, I was like, man, maybe, if Bello was going to be chalky, we could go right back to him. But that's not looking like the case. I'd rather play him. I think he's going to rack up a lot of strikeouts here. I would not talk anyone out of a couple one-offs, a little power one-offs. And then, we got Josh Fleming. He's a lefty, long reliever. If you're going to target a Boston bat, it would be one of the lefty smashers. JD Martinez, Trevor Story, those types. Maybe do a 3-man at max to be different. You're going to get them at, 2 to 3% owned. And I know the ballpark's bad, really bad, but those guys have plenty of power. They can do it against lefties. But I'm not going to get there. These bullpen games are really difficult to target at times, especially against the Rays. So I see this being a pretty low-scoring game, and I'll be off it.
Same page as I am. Before I get to Mango, Michael Cox, I see him in chat a lot. He was one of the screenshots. AP said he had 7 lineups to win that 100K, which is $140. $140 to $100,000. That is some awesome stuff. So yeah, a lot of those huge ROIs. Shows you don't have to be playing thousands of dollars every day to get those big wins. So congrats to all of you. Awesome stuff, Michael Cox. Mango, I'm going to ask you about this game, but Scott Ferguson's a little worried about you. He said you look angry today. You can't be angry going to the Rockies game later. What's going on? Tell Scott what's going on.
Maybe Scott's just a bad poker player. I'm perfectly fine. I've had a good mood the whole time. I feel like I'm excited to go over to the game. I'm a little tired, but Title hitting the gym. I've been a little tired. I played some hoops this weekend too. So body needs a little more recovery. It's almost there. It just needs another day. So
fair enough.
We'll be fine. And
I got to get some practice in. I'm going to get schooled by Mangone, and then I won't be able to show my face on another show again, or Discord or anywhere.
AB,
I'm probably going to get beat by Pooh then too, and then it'll be a trifecta with Snyder.
He was calling you out. He was wondering where
Pooh
you
was. We'll get a rematch. Yeah, Pooh Bear.
Pooh, people would call Pooh out, and then Pooh would say, "Oh, AP's more on my speed." That's what he kept saying.
Yeah, we had.
He's like, I like the pace he played at. It was perfect.
Well, he was also playing on a rolled ankle for most of the time. I feel like
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
hobbling
bad.
around the
It
house.
was bad.
Yeah.
I don't. It was when I got home, it was like bruised up pretty good. So
Yeah, I remember that. Man, going Red Sox, Tampa. You on the same page as us with the fade, or you make a case for some of these?
No, someone said in the chat, they were saying like, "Oh, the Red Sox against Fleming, he's not that great." Here's the problem: that park is just like when have you seen like that park like win a slate, especially like an 8-game slate? Like I don't think this is the right spot for it. So I'm staying away from this one. No need. And it's the bullpen game. Like it's got all the things I don't want. Red Sox on the road, like nothing aligned. So I'm not excited about this game. We can move on over to another one.
All right, going to you right back, man. Going Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, Aaron Nola, Miles Mikolas on the mound. 7.5 total, 96 degrees in St. Louis, though. Man, that's quite tasty, but the total isn't great. 2 solid pitchers. I assume you don't want to pick on Nola, but talk about this game for bets.
I don't, but this is the argument you can make to pick on Nola. Like you just talked about that Red Sox spot and asked me about it, and the one guy in the chat talked about it. I would rather play the Cardinals over the Red Sox today if I had to pick. Now, here's why. It's because if Nola struggles somehow, then, well, what's the reason? It's because the Cardinals went off, and I'm gaining all this leverage on the field and sinking other lineups. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be doing that if I was playing, the Red Sox, because no one's playing Fleming, right? So that's part of the equation and part of things you have to think about when thinking about leverage. Now, do I want to leverage against Nola? No, I don't want to, but I'm just bringing up that point that like that would be a reason to do it if you wanted to, and you're that worried about trying to find this second offense, because it is hard to find this second offense on the slate. That's why AP is concerned about the White Sox. So they've been so bad, and there just is not a second offense besides Coors on this slate. So you can make the argument that trying to look for leverage opportunities might be the spot. Now, is it the Cardinals? Like, I don't think it really is, but that's just something to look for, right? If I had to pick between like, which pitcher would I pick on? Is it Nola? Is it Scherzer? Is it Fried? It might be Fried with those Mets, because Fried has been having trouble getting the swings and misses lately. And those Mets, they don't really swing and miss a ton. They make contact. So like if I had to pick a team or a pitcher to try and leverage on this slate, I think it would be that. But the point I'm getting at here is there's not a lot of offense on this slate. And I really don't want to ever attack 7.5 totals or even 7 totals like that next game coming up. But we're trying to think of ways to kind of get unique and get different. And maybe it's just not the right way. You know what I mean? It's just, this is a really tough spot. Cardinals, I prefer them when I get them in a spot where they're at home, which you at least get. You get the wind blown out and you get the temperature good, but it is against Nola, and that's just not a really ideal spot. So if you want to do a leverage play, go for it, but it's not something I'm really doing on this slate.
Yep, makes some sense. AP?
Yeah, I mean, I keep looking at that 96 degrees. I mean, man, it's hot there. Wind's gently blowing out. Makes the park a little bit smaller. Then you got the Phillies, like Kyle Schwarber just has been an absolute beast. Hoskins has actually been good. Mikolas is actually worse against righties than lefties. I don't think that's going to matter for a guy like Schwarber. But when you're looking at Derek Hall, who's a big boy too, and Hoskins, and then you look at their price, I think Hoskins would be kind of an interesting tournament play there. I would limit it to like a 3-man stack. It's so hard to play bats against Aaron Nola. I never do it. He's just good, pitches for a long time, rarely gets hit hard, and he's just too dominant. So unless it's like a 3-game slate, which it's not, we have a lot of different bats to pick from on this slate. So Phillies 3-man stack targeting some power, I think is kind of the most that I would go here.
Yep, makes some sense. Next game on the slate, New York Mets, Atlanta Braves, a 7 total. Max Scherzer and Max Fried on the mound, 81 degrees. Man, you kind of were stealing my thunder, because I was thinking, I'm going to ask you guys the same thing. Max Fried, Aaron Nola, Max Scherzer. If you had to stack against one, who would it be? My answer is it'd be the Braves against Max Scherzer. And why? I think Scherzer is going to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate. It's a second game coming back. He pitched 1 game last game that was his first start since he was hurt. He pitched very well, but he pitched against the bad Cincinnati team, who I'm not worried about. And this Braves lineup, I mean, when do we get the Braves at 1% ownership? I saw someone earlier in chat saying that as well. I'm on the same page. And why also I like it, you can play in Nola. Then you go all the way down to Bello. A lot of these Braves are expensive. You can't play Scherzer, Nola, obviously, or even Nola and Max Fried, and then play these Braves. They're going to be so low owned because of their prices. I do like a cheap pitcher. And man, it's the Braves with all the power. We know Scherzer can let up some home runs. Now, if you're playing 20 entry, I don't think you need to go 50% Braves. I think that'd be dumb. Even if you went 10%, 20%, you're way over the field already against the chalkiest pitcher. Maybe just a 3-man stack, maybe a 5-man stack's a little ambitious, but man, Dansby Swanson, Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, my favorite player to play on the Braves, Michael Harris. His price has finally come up a little bit, not enough at all, but I think it's an interesting spot against the chalkiest pitcher and one of the best offenses in the league. 80 degrees going out too. So I think the Braves make sense a little bit personally. I'm not going to go to the Mets. Mangone, you said Fried was if you had to pick on one, it would have been Fried. What about you, AP? If you had to pick on one, what are the top 3 pitchers would it be? And then talk about this game if it would be Aaron Nola.
I mean, yeah, that's a great question. And it'd probably be Scherzer, like just same reasoning as you. I don't want to do it at all, but we know this Braves team, like what they're capable of. If they got to them early and, we got to that bullpen and everything and just got to one of those environments where they're seeing the ball and hitting it really well, their upside is just massive. Like how many times have we seen the Braves put up double-digit runs? I mean, they can single-handedly break a slate. With
it's a good 1 through 9. They can turn over the
good 1 through 9.
Robbie Cano is in the 9 hole now at min price, but yeah.
Yeah, Max Fried, I mean, man, those guys are just such good, real life pitchers where, Scherzer is going to pound the strike zone. I mean, his slider, I think, is pretty nasty too, which would worry me about, stacking up the Braves here. They've been a little swing happy lately, and rightfully so because they've been hitting the ball so good. So that could go either way tonight. I'm going to side with Max, but again, if someone wanted to stack up the Braves, Gary probably maybe, I wouldn't talk him out of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're going to be 1%. Scherzer's the highest owned pitcher. They have a 3.8 implied total. Like, I think they're just an interesting, if you play 20 entry, if you're just trying to get one entry in a $15 today, trying to take first place, I think there does make some sense on it. Mangone, talk about this game. It sounded like you said picking on Max Fried would be your favorite. So I guess talk about some Mets.
Yeah, man, the Mets are definitely in play for me, but it's just tough to get behind them. Like when you look at when you look at this slate, there's the second offense. It's just so hard to find one to like. And that's why, again, it's like kind of like the White Sox kind of gravitates that second one for me. I understand the point you're making with the leverage. Like it's just a conversation point. I know I'm not going to do it. It's just, I could see just taking the approach like Big T says. He still plays 150 lineups and he goes really condensed. And he just like one of the slates around the premium show, and he's like, I'm just playing these 3 offenses and jamming them in. And like, curious to see what he's doing with it. I'm sure he's just jamming in Padres, Rockies, and then he's probably like picking like 1 or 2 more offenses and then just jamming it and seeing what happens. Maybe I end up being wrong. I'm curious to see what he does, but it just seems like that's the spot to go today and just find ways to make that lineup unique, right? Maybe it's Fanning and Manny Machado. When you do play like the Rockies and the Padres, there's like some really, we can talk about when we get to that game, but like there's outfielders like don't line up, right? Like the positions don't line up really well, where they line up so well in certain areas where it just seems like there's like one chalk construction that makes a lot of sense. You don't play any Padres outfielders, you play a lot of Padres position players, and then you play the Rockies outfielders. So I'd rather think about that a little bit more and how I construct my lineup than trying to make a leverage play like Max Scherzer. That's just kind of my current route on this slate. And maybe it helps that I'm going to the game today, right? I'm sure that plays part of it of why I'm just looking for that route over the other.
Yeah, makes sense. For the BVP people out there, Everyday thinks as Acuna has BVP against Max. I'm not a big BVP guy, really. I will never go and look and like go out of my way to look for it. When I hear things like that, I mean, it doesn't hurt, that's for sure. So, I mean, people like that, we appreciate Everyday things letting us know. We got 4 games left on this slate to break down. And let's see what we got for likes. 484 watching, 213 likes. 300 is the number we need for the plays of the day. Should be very easy. Again, 4 games left. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. Get you the plays of the day. We appreciate it. Next game on the slate, the Oakland Athletics, the Texas Rangers, Adrian Martinez and Spencer Howard on the mound. It's kind of interesting. None of us talked about Spencer Howard, where a lot of us were playing him last slate. Oakland, we always do love to pick on. I think that's because Bellows down there at 5K, where why do you have to go to Spencer Howard? But it's kind of interesting. None of us did talk about it when Oakland has a very low implied team total. As far as Texas, theirs is pretty decent. Gets this Adrian Martinez guy that I don't think is any good. Mangone, I'll go to you. Talk about this Texas team.
Yeah. So is that roof open? I'm just assuming it's just Martinez is not that good, right?
Okay. I mean, it's really warm here, so I'd be shocked.
Just making sure. I didn't think so, but you don't see Texas almost get to a 5 implied total. And part of it is because of Martinez, I'm sure. The one thing that's nice is you get value at the top of the lineup in Josh Smith. Pretty good play. I always like playing Corey Seager at shortstop. You get Adolis Garcia, 4.9K. A lot to like here. Even Nate Lowe, he's got that 3.8K price tag. And these Rangers are definitely in play, but I'm not dying to play them. I'll definitely say that. I'm not super excited to, just because I just think there's other spots I'd rather go to on this slate. If I do play the Rangers, they're better as a mini stack, I think. That's kind of the route that I think I would prefer on this slate. You get Big T's boy Brad Miller at the bottom of the lineup at 3K. He could be an interesting outfield option because, again, I talked about it. Like, when you look at the outfield position with the Padres and the Rockies, it's a bit rough. So maybe he makes sense like a one-off option that hits a home run that's really low owned, and he's not even have any ownership, and just like he's the guy that wins you the slate, right? That could certainly be the option for sure, because I know Big T likes to platoon him in certain spots. So those are things that you can look at. You can definitely find like some cheap outfielders to make your like Padres or Rockies stack a little bit different, because again, the outfielders are not great or they're expensive outfielders. So I know I keep leading up to that game, but it's like the biggest talking point on this slate for sure. And when I think about these other spots, I'm thinking about how I'm handling the Padres and the Rockies within my lineups.
Yeah, I'll skip the AP. I'm going to go to you. Then I'm going to skip the Royals in Detroit quick, and then we'll talk about Coors and then go back to it. Maybe I should have just started with that Coors game, but I already know AP said he was going to play it. You already said you were going to play it. So, but yeah, AP, talk about this Texas-Oakland game, then we'll get to that next.
This always happens, like for me, when we get on these shows and it's a Coors slate and it's just, man, it's going to be like 40% owned. Part of me is like, man, I just can't play like a 40% owned spot, in baseball. I mean, maybe since we got boots on the ground there, maybe I got to just suck up and do it. But I'm honestly trying.
That's my approach to AP. And
all right, title. Like I know, like it sucks the roof's closed, but Mangone makes such a good point there. Like almost a 5 implied team total. Adrian Martinez, not good. Go look at Corey Seager. Go look at what Marcus Semien. Like some of these games these guys have had. Adolis Garcia, dude's an absolute beast. Josh Smith leading off there. I think he's a guy that has. I mean, he's been somewhat decent to actually, putting up some numbers. You got Nate Lowe. Jonah Heim has been a guy that I like every now and then. Not like a bad lineup where you could 3 or 5 man stack it to get you different. So I agree with Mangone. Maybe a 3-man stack's better, but I wouldn't blame anyone for 5-man stacking them. And then, I mean, man, the A's, I don't know. I can't go there. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely can't go there. But it's we didn't talk about Spencer Howard either. I just think if you're going to go that cheap, you got to go with our boy Bello, definitely over Howard.
Yeah, same thoughts there. 3 games left. The like button, we need 300. Getting a little hurtful right now, getting a little scary, but I have a feeling you guys are going to get it done for us. We'll go to Detroit and Kansas City after we talk about Coors Field, though. The Padres lineup just did come out, so both of you go check that out. Man, 12 total. Jose Urena, probably the worst pitcher in baseball, going against Sean Manaea, who's definitely a better pitcher. This is how I talk about these Coors spots, though, is anytime they're going to a team's going to be a clear chalk, which the Padres are going to be that. I just really don't know how you can get to them unless you go completely like a CJ Abrams down there, but even he's shortstop 2.1K. If I'm going to play the Padres, I have to know that I'm going to play low owned parts of it. And I just don't even know if you can 5-man stack this and find 5 lower owned parts of this stack. I think the Colorado side's more interesting. The ownership's going to be lower. That's the side I prefer. Otherwise, personally, it's an 8-game slate. Like other teams, you got to think one team. We're going to get to the Royals or Tigers, whether it's the White Sox, the Rangers, the Guardians. I think one of the other teams has a better chance where if they do go off, they do put up 10 plus, which I think easily one of them can. You're just going to shoot up the leaderboards, where it's if you're playing the Padres and they put up 14, well, you're going to have to battle with a lot, 30% 5-man Padres stacks to then beat them out to then take first place. It's baseball. Of course, I love Coors Field, but I just can't get behind a 40% owned team or whatever they're going to come in as. And I just don't know if you can 5-man and get different in this spot, AP, with how their lineup came out. I like the Rocky side. I wish Chris Bryant was in the lineup. He's not. That hurts a little bit. Like Elise Diaz, I always like playing a part of the stack. Randall Grichuk down there. CJ Cron, of course. That's my approach on it. But, of course, the Padres. Like if you're playing cash games, you play the Padres. What are your thoughts on this, AP, for GPPs, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what size your cojones are, because when you're approaching 30-40% ownership in baseball, anything can happen. It's a game one of a Coors series. We've seen what these game ones can do sometimes. So here's what I would do on these slates. If you're fading, there's a few different strategies that you can make. Maybe reduce bankroll, maybe reduce the amount of money that you're putting in play a little bit, and then take more risks that way. Maybe if you're playing 3 to 5 lineups, maybe target just the 88 instead of whatever the big boy tournament is, on that slate, and then get contrarian. And the thing about these slates too is, let's just say you're running 5. And I want your guys' opinion on this. You could go and you could stack it it doesn't work on a lot of slates, but this is a slate to where I'll take a lineup and I'll full stack the White Sox. That'll be one of my teams. I'll full stack then, maybe I'll look at the Phillies. Maybe I'll look at the Rangers. Maybe I'll full stack the Tigers, Royals. Do that with all of your lineups, just getting different. And now you've spread it around a little bit, but ownership is going to be so low to where
you'd be
I think
overweight on all of those.
That.
Yeah, you'd be overweight on all those.
Because the problem is you stack this up, and okay, this is the best spot on the slate. I know that everyone knows that. The problem is if you get the stack right, you're still going to be battling everyone else up top, which makes it really difficult. Sure, we did ship on Friday by eating chalk, so I am a fan in certain spots of eating chalk.
That was a different kind of chalk than
it was a different. Yeah, I agree with you. It was different.
There's levels to chalk. This is going to be up there, man.
The other thing that I would do is maybe play one of Scherzer or Nola, and then maybe punt with Bello and get different that way and leave a ton of salary on the table, because you could make a full core stack lineup with leaving like 6 or 7K on the table. I guarantee you could, just looking at the price tags. So that would be my approach. But, just in some, like if you're new and you want to play, you're playing a buddy, you're playing head to heads. I mean, man, 5-man stack the Padres, and then you could run it back if you want with some of these righties against Sean Manaea, who hasn't been that good, of late. So, but, it is Manaea. Could this be a spot to where he turns it around? And I wasn't on him last slate. I was actually stacking against him, and he was chalk last slate. He's not going to get any ownership at all. And I wouldn't play him. There's better options, obviously, that we've talked about, but it would not surprise me at all if the Rockies struggled here.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like Bello a lot too, because if you play, like you mentioned the same point, if you're playing the Padres, they're just so cheap. What, you got Nolan Mazzara down in the 3 hole at min price 2K, Cronenworth leaning off 4.1K, Hosmer in the 5 hole 2.1, Voit 3.6, Trent Grissom 2.9, no one's above 5K, hardly anyone's above 4K. The pricing is just a complete joke. I think Bello can. Like I said, I think he does have the potential to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, and I wouldn't be completely shocked. So if you're going the Coors route, maybe don't pick one of Nola, Fried, Scherzer, leave salary with Bello, and then go that way with that and leave a bunch of salary, or maybe just get different on a mini stack or something. If you're stacking 5-man Padres, which of course you can do. I mean, they're supposed to be the highest scoring team on the slate. Just think about your roster construction. Think about the salary you're leaving. Think about where you're getting different and try and be unique with them, because you don't want to be holding hands with everyone else. Man, you're going to the game. You're stacking this up. Talk some game theory. Are you going to be heavier on the Padres, heavier on the Rockies, how you're stacking it, all that?
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Rockies 5-mans, and I'm going to play a lot more 5-mans. And the reason why is if you look at our handedness chart, right? Look at what Stevie Boyden's got up there. The Rockies against lefties last, since June 25th, they're 10th at WRC plus. Pretty good spot for them there, right? Obviously, they hit lefties pretty well. Where's Sean Manaea struggling? Last 30 days, if you look at Sean Manaea's numbers, I just had them up. He's had I think it's 72 plate appearances against righties, and he's gotten destroyed. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, the WOBA was 437, the ISO is 290. He's getting killed by these guys. And when you jam in these righties, right, when you put in CJ Cron, when you put in Brendan Rodgers, and you start getting all those righties in there, Connor Joe, they're expensive. They're up in that higher 4K range. And you know what it forces you not to do? You can't get Jake Cronenworth with Brendan Rodgers, right? You can't get Manny Machado. So it kind of forces you off some of those Padres. If you go someone like CJ Cron, you're not getting Luke Voit in there. So the point I'm getting at is when you 5-man the Rockies, that makes you instantly pretty different. And I really like this 5-man side. I think the Rockies win this game. I mean, I don't think Manaea is that good. Urain is not great either, but maybe they know that, and they're going to obviously get to the bullpen and mess with that too. And it's the first game there. So I just think this is such a really good spot for the Rockies that I'm in on it. The Padres, this lineup's not good. Can we at least call that out? Like, yes, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, good players. Luke Voigt, good option. But here's the problem. Nomar Mazara, like he's in the 3-hole. Nomar Mazara is terrible. He is 2K, so I assume he's going to be pretty popular within the stacks in that 3-hole. So he's probably a really good fade in the Padres stacks. You got Hosmer. You can just literally not play Voigt and go to Hosmer at 2-1. It's not comfortable, but 2-1 for him is pretty good price tag. And he's a lefty here against Urena. I think it makes some sense. And you got a lot of cheap guys down here, right? You got Alfaro, you got Grisham, you got Abrams, you got Jose Azocar. I can never say his name right. But the more I look at this Padres team, they seem way better for this like 3-man stack instead, rather than that 5-man stack. Just they have all these 2K guys. And what are like the odds that all these guys get here and do well? That's my big concern. And Urena is a guy that definitely I'm down to pick on, but you can make the argument. Sometimes these like crafty veterans, they can find a way to get it done. They've been in the league for a while for a reason, even though they're not that good and they are struggling. So maybe it's a better spot where you play like a 5-man Rockies stack, and then instead you look for like a 3-man Padres. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Obviously, I'm going to have a game stack because I'm going to the game, but I think the Rockies side, based on ownership, is the better side. And I think I'm going to end up going to them because of how good they've been against lefties. And there's just not a lot of other spots I love on this slate. And while other people can't jam in all these like top end Rockies, I'm just going to jam them all in, right? I'm going to grab CJ Cron. I'm going to grab Connor Joe, Brendan Rodgers. And because I'm playing Brendan Rodgers, I can't play a Jake Cronenworth. So that's going to separate me, and not being able to play a Luke Voigt. So that's just going to instantly make me different within the game stack right there.
Yep, I think the Rocky side in tournaments is better too. That's how I approach most Coors slates. If it's just going to be mega chalk, I think every point you made is good. Now, the Rockies aren't going to be 5% owned. Like it's a fit sometimes, or it's a 15-game slate. And there's a lot of better hitting options, but they definitely are going to be less than the Padres. We got 2 games left. What do we need? 32 more likes, 2 games left. I'll remind one more time, but we appreciate if you hit it so we can get you the plays of the day. We got AP's Royals in the second game of a doubleheader, taking on the Detroit Tigers. It's warm out by you, AP, 87 degrees. This Alex Fajedo dude looks no good at all. These last 4 games, 3-7, negative 0.25, negative 3.85. And this is another one of the reasons why I don't think you need to jam a 40% Padres or whatever it's going to be, because I think the Royals are in a good spot personally. And I don't mind some of these Detroit bats. I definitely like the Kansas City side better. But hey, it's all up to you. If you say no Royals, then I don't know if I can play any Royals.
So the reason to like the Royals tonight, in addition to how bad this guy is he gives up stolen bases. He gave up 3 to Boston, 2 to Oakland. I mean, man, you go and look, like he's given up a lot of stolen bases, and we all know that the Royals like to run. So I'm fine with the full Royals stack. It's going to be very contrarian. We don't have a lineup.
Unfortunately, no Witt. Yeah, I thought, do we or no? Yeah, we do have the lineup out. Melendez, Bobby Witt Jr., Pescatino, Dozier, O'Hearn, Oliveras, Isbell, Rivera, Lopez. Whit Merrifield left hurt yesterday, so he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, so
who's that?
That's their I forget what they call him. He's one of their young guys, but he hasn't done much of late. So like for me, I would stick to the guys we trust: Bobby Witt, Benintendi. Michael Taylor's not bad at all. MJ Melendez, Hunter Dozier's been hitting the ball pretty well too. So that's where I would stick to. I think Riviera has a couple games or has a couple nice games, but yeah, it's hot. I mean, it's a big park still, but it's hot. Not going against a bad pitcher. And then Daniel Lynch on the other side. I mean, man, there's a couple plays you could play. Eric Haas, he's a lefty masher. Yavi Baez played him yesterday. He hits lefties good. You could and then Scope, like he hits lefties too. He had a couple yesterday that, man, they were to the track. So maybe he's a guy that is kind of warming up right now. So I think this game is maybe a sneaky one to full stack, just 2 bad pitchers, 2 bad bullpens, and 2 bad offenses too. But maybe you add up all that bad in there, and maybe some good will happen for us in DFS formats that they'll be very low owned relative to the Coors game.
So yeah, Corey Puller mentioned it, and because I didn't know who the Pasquantino dude is, I guess he's been playing for about 2 weeks. 3, 4, 5, they're all first base eligible. AP Pasquantino, Dozier, O'Hearn. Who are you playing? Or you not have a strong lean?
I'm going with Dozier. Yeah, I'd go with Dozier. I mean, he's a good base runner. He had that game against Thor where I think he had a couple stolen bases there. And he's been hitting the ball good.
Yep. Mangone, going to you in this game. Second game of the doubleheader. Good weather out there. Kansas City, Detroit. What do you like?
Yeah, this game is definitely not a bad one for sure. I do think that, like, when we're looking for offenses on this slate, like we were talking about the Texas Rangers, right? And the White Sox haven't hit anything. Like, maybe it is a day that you take a shot on the Tigers, right? If you were going to play them, it's against a lefty, right? It's not against the righties. Like, you could make the argument this could be a contrarian like mini stack that could work today.
Javi Baez swinging a little hot stick.
That's what I mean. Javi Baez, you throw, and it's better for the mini, I think, right? You throw in like a Javi Baez, maybe you throw in like a Robbie Grossman.
Eric Haas.
It's Haas at like catcher, right? Like that's where it works. I'm not saying 5-man this up, but it can make some sense in that perspective. So don't mind that a little bit. If you look, so again, they're fine, but the Royals, they have that higher implied total on their side. Do think it's a pretty good spot for these guys against Vado. 87 degrees, so that's good. It's in Kansas City, and it's a rough slate. So I think the Royals are in play, but there's other offenses I think I prefer. So I'm not jamming these guys in here on the slate.
Yep, makes sense. One game left. We need 16 more likes. The last warning. Please hit the like button. Hit that big red subscribe button. We're going to go talk about the last game, which I don't think is going to take very long. Going to get these guys' favorite stacks. Then I'm going to look back in the YouTube, hopefully see 300. And unfortunately, if it's not 300, we cannot get you it. But I have a feeling 16 more people are going to hit the like button. Boys, I don't think this one's going to take too long, but I'll go to you first, AP. Diamondbacks, Giants, 60 degrees in San Francisco today. Merrill Kelly, Alex Cobb on the mound, a 7.5 team total. Any bats in this one?
No, it's going to be a pass for me. Just cooler weather. Man, these West Coast games, I like to fade them. I mean, I would rather be, sitting up there top of leaderboards, having people chase me in these West Coast games. It's just, do they hurt our feelings sometimes? Sure, they definitely can go off, but I'm not seeing it here. Even though Alex Cobb hasn't been that good, I'm just not going to stack him with this Diamondbacks lineup.
Mango.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't think I need this game. I just think it's better spots on this slate, and don't really like attacking this park. Rather the pitchers here than the hitters.
Give me your top 3 stacks on the slate, Mango, and Padres are not. You cannot use the Padres.
Okay, I cannot use the Padres. Okay, well, I'm going to go Rockies as my number 1. I even like them over the Padres, so I'll go that far title. Then I'll go White Sox, and then after kind of hearing AP talk about the Rangers and thinking about the process too, like they just line up a lot position-wise for stuff, so I'm going to make the Rangers as my 3rd favorite stack.
I like it. AP, top 3 stacks. Padres are not welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rangers, White Sox, and then Royals.
I like it.
You guys officially did it. I'm fading Coors tonight, so there we go.
It's not even the Rocky side. Just
I'm not going to play. I'm running 4 builds. I'm running 4 builds. I bring back my volume a little bit, allows me to open things up, and focusing on some of these cues that are out there. So for the Millie Maker for golf, the 444.
Nice. I like it for sure. I'm not going to look at YouTube yet. I hope the likes are there. But first, want to read off. If you do want to be a member, if you want to be a part of this heater that we've been on, if you want the premium shows that we're going to be, I was going to say DC's on it tonight, but I don't know if DC man going, or is he leaving early because of the Rockies?
He will be on it. He'll definitely
he'll be on it. So there you go.
He'll make the game, but it'll be tight. Me too. I have some other stuff I have to do after lock. So we're both getting to the game in time.
DC, you'll get to hear his pitching takes. 50K he just won last week. Premium show, you do have to be a member. The premium show for golf on Wednesday. Big T's player pool. Mangone's guessing where Big T's going to be on today. You don't have to guess. We have his player pool that he puts up almost every single day. His core plays, all of that. So head over to Pier Sports. Check it out. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Let's go. 313 likes. I appreciate it. That's a great push. I still will never understand why sometimes people just wait until the last 5 minutes to click it. But hey, we got the job done. I am not going to complain over here. Let's go to the plays of the day. I'm going to go to myself first with the SO play of the day. He's going to be 1% owned. Man, I got to keep going to Michael Harris, man. That dude is a complete stud. He is in the 8 hole. against the chalkiest pitcher on the slate and Max Scherzer. I don't think you need a 5-man stack the Braves, but I think a little 2-man, 3-man mini stack makes a little sense. Scherzer can give us some bombs. Michael Harris is a complete stud. So give me Michael Harris at 1% against Max Scherzer as the SO play of the day. AP, gentleman's call of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go with a pitching option. I'm going to go Brian Bello. I think he's just going to redeem himself. And I think he's going to end up as the second highest scoring pitcher on the slate.
I like it. Mangone, sweet Travis play of the day. Cap it off for us.
Yeah, I'm going to the Rockies. Told you they're my favorite offense today. I'm going with the guy in the 4-hole on the Rockies, Brendan Rodgers. A lot of people put in that Cronenworth, right? Because again, like they want to game stack that up. It's hard to kind of, jam in all those guys and not play like a Cronenworth and not play Machado. Brendan Rodgers will be my guy in the 4-hole. And then Tato, I got a narrative play for you. One narrative play that I forgot to mention on the Rockies, Jose Iglesias. Is
it his bobblehead?
He gets 1 hit tonight. It's his 1,000th hit in his career. So there you go.
Ooh, all right.
I could see a milestone tonight. So there you go. Think he's an interesting play today because he's got BVP against Sean Manaea as well. 5 for 11. So I know the people always love that, but figured I'd just mention that because it's a funny one.
In 60 years, you're going to be telling your grandchildren about the milestone of you seeing Jose Iglesias 1,000 hit against Sean Manaea on this beautiful Monday afternoon, Mangone.
Yeah, he bangs a home run. I have him on my teams and I ship everything. That would be the dream. That's
there you go. We'll be on the lookout for the Mangone shipper in the screenshot later tonight with that game stacked up. Joey Works at it's him, DC, and JSU on the Up to Lock show. Ooh, get a little Joey Work action, which is always fun. Joey will be hosting that show. So make sure you get in the live show chat. Have a good time with them. Any question you have, you ask it. They'll get it answered for you. They'll break down the slate as always. It was a very fun show. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button on the way out. We appreciate all of you hanging out. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Looking to see some RPS logos up at the top today. That's going to do it for us, though. Hope you guys and girls all have a great night. For AP, Mangone, signing behind the sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.